Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to review the book Everyday Survival by Laurence Gonzales, best-selling author of Deep Survival, and the subtitle is Why Smart People Do Stupid Things. Now, I read Deep Survival. I actually don't know if I ever reviewed it here. I should probably make sure I did that. And it was one of the best books I've ever read, in the sense that it changed my life, because it helped me understand, in a way I've never understood before, that, sorry, I thought I saw something, that there are mechanisms in us, because we are animals and because we are raised within a certain culture. There are mechanisms inside us that can take over our thinking. Sometimes they're good. The fight or flight mechanism, for example, can keep you alive. You can assess the situation in a split second at the reptilian brain level that decides, should I run or should I fight? But there are also mechanisms that can kill you. Like, your amygdala remembers things like home. You know, the memories built into your mind can push you forward in a survival situation and kill you, because they keep driving you forward to get home, get home, get home. If you're going forward, you're not going home. You're lost. Forward is not the way out. You need to figure out where you came from. As the saying goes, when you are lost, just don't do something, sit there. Calm down. Center yourself. Assess the situation. And find a solution. If you let those behaviors, those behavioral scripts, and those mental models take over, you can be doomed. Now, about a third of the book deals with that to some extent in this. For example, he talks about pilots. In the earliest days of aviation, not early, but fighter planes that had real heavy-duty fighter plane on fighter plane action in like the World War I, World War II era, maybe a little Korean era. There was this mythology that said if you got into a spin, you were doomed. So pilots would, if they could, and they had the capacity to do so, they would bail. But observers noticed something. After the pilot bailed, sometimes the planes would right themselves and keep flying until they crashed. Now, if the plane could do that without a pilot, the plane could do that with a pilot. Something the pilots were doing was preventing them from being in control of the plane the way they wanted. And those mental models and behavioral scripts were getting in the way. So they had to teach them to stop doing things. Something like if you're driving in a car and you suddenly find yourself swerving, don't overcompensate. Let the car find its own way and then move forward. Then make the assessment. If you try to fight it, you're doomed. You're going to roll the car. You're going to go off the road. You have to work with the vehicle. And then the pilots learned you how to work with the planes, and suddenly spins dropped precipitously, and pilots did not have to bail out of planes that could have very well have gotten them home safely. I apologize. I'm noticing a little lagging in this video when I'm making it. I hope it doesn't show up to the final edit. So those kinds of things in the book are good and interesting. But then he moves into the realm of we need to make sure that we're doing intelligent things because we're endangering the planet. And he talks about how we're putting ourselves at risk. And a lot of what he discusses is very well written. Don't get me wrong. And it's a nice overview of basic human psychology, a little economics, and environmental science. But I've covered all those topics in my own reading. And he didn't present it in a compelling enough way for me to want to read them again. I did, because occasionally he'd throw something in that I did want to read. But to my mind, this is a much weaker book than Deep Survival. Deep Survival was amazing. And I recommend everyone read Deep Survival. But this book, Everyday Survival, it just didn't click for me. It didn't give me what I wanted from the book. Now, maybe that was my own preconceptions. Maybe because I had so much invested in Deep Survival, when I came to this book, I was expecting something it couldn't deliver. So, if you are not, that hooked into Deep Survival, if you're not expecting something, this book may well give you exactly what you want. And maybe it covers the topics I'm discussing, psychology and economics and environmental science, in a way that you've never encountered. And it could be a good overview for you. but it wasn't for me. So for me, I finished the book, but I think a lot of the space was wasted on me. I didn't enjoy it. But for some people, this is going to be an excellent resource and could help them lead to deeper readings of their own at a later date, which is excellent. And we all have to be introduced to topics in some way, right? And this is the introduction for some people. Awesome. So I don't really think I can recommend Everyday Survival if you've already read Deep Survival. If you haven't read Deep Survival, I think you might want to give it a look. But I definitely think you want to read Deep Survival. And you may want to read them in the order of Everyday Survival first, and then read Deep Survival. I think it might give you a different experience that I did not have and cannot have because I've already read Deep Survival. So that's my take on the book. I think it's good for some folks. I think the message is a little bit lost on me, but you know, that's the nature of reading. Not every book's going to be perfect for you, you know?